So this right here is a 3D printed prosthetic limb. This is a real hand that a kid who's born with a partial wrist can actually use. And it's amazing. My thought process was, what if we can get more printers and have more kids involved in the process? So we got a printer called a Monoprice Maker Select version 2, which retails for about 300 bucks. And here you can see the modifications. It's called the Z-brace. This piece here, this whole piece going back. You can see that there's a glass bed over here. It works so incredibly well. This thing's like a $3,000 printer for about 300 bucks, about $50 worth of modifications. Using this printer, I was able to print this Raptor Reloaded version of a 3D printed prosthetic hand, which is insane, like absolutely crazy that you can spend 300 bucks and build a hand like this. A roll of filament, maximum is $25, which means each gram is 2.5 cents. This was 1,000 grams per roll of filament. So if this thing costs 300 to 500 grams, you're talking $12.5 or less for all of the plastic parts. All this rope right here, you can buy on Amazon, $8 a piece. I can't even express how many hands these could make. As far as the screws, you buy one of these, either like Home Depot, big box store, you go on Amazon, anywhere from $8 to $20-ish. Then you're talking double-sided Velcro that would go here, some medical grade foam so it's uncomfortable for the kid to wear it. We're talking like 25 bucks maybe to make one of these, like to really make one of these. And now somebody has a hand. So my thought process is, if teachers and students can learn how to make something like this instead of just making keychains and things for fun. We have over 1,800 schools in the city. We're the largest school district in the entire country. District 75 is the highest need special ed district in the city and in the entire country as well. What if students were to print and create 3D printed prosthetic limbs for students by students? Realistically, at this price point of about 300 bucks for a printer like this, plus the modifications, any teacher who's interested could very easily use the money and create meaningful projects like this. That's Icy, she's saying hi. Imagine what it would be like to teach your students, like talk about a real hands-on lesson and a real practical, real-life lesson, to design something like this and to give it to a kid. We have over 1,800 schools in the city, many more than that throughout the country. If schools were to get into this, this could be a way that schools could connect to the community and schools could give back, and a way that people could really get involved. There's literally thousands of volunteers in enablingthefuture.org. It's a really good site. You don't have to have much experience 3D printing to make something like this. If you have an expensive printer like a MakerBot or an Ultimaker, it's pretty much as simple as dropping it in and printing it out. If you have a printer that's low end, like the Monoprice over here, and you have a level of experience with 3D printing, you can still successfully print something like this using quality filament and with proper modifications. If you have a partial wrist, all you have to do is just make this bending motion, and by default, if you go like this, you hold your hand out, it's very uncomfortable. You keep it like this, and then you let go, your hand goes in this motion. This is your natural resting hand motion. So you design the hand to do the same thing. When you bend the wrist like this, it causes the hand to clench into a fist. So a kid who doesn't have a hand can actually make a fist and grip onto something. I cannot express. Like, I've been teaching for a while. This is without a doubt the most meaningful thing I've ever done. And to see kids, to see teachers, to see administrators, to see parents, adults, everybody just gets so impassioned about this. It's exciting. I take the Metro North every day. I go from Westchester into the city where I teach. For the last, I don't know, couple weeks, I've been designing these on the train. And people say, what are you doing? Like, what's that all about? Are you a doctor in training? Actually, a woman asked me that yesterday. I'm like, no, I'm a technology teacher. This is engineering. This is a 3D printed prosthetic limb. Been teaching for close to 10 years now, and I've had tenure for quite some time. I love teaching, but I always wish there was like a next level tenure. Like every couple of years, there's like a next level, a big goal, something that you would really worked hard for. You're saving all your documentation. You're just like that level of compassion. This is that level of compassion. In this day and age with superheroes being as popular as they are, as cool as they are, not being geeky, like Avengers Infinity War, one of the highest grossing films of all time. When a kid puts this on, they're the coolest kid ever. Instead of trying to simply design a hand and make it look like a real hand, instead of putting all this money into let's make it bionic, let's make it robotic, whatever, it's purely mechanical. A regular prosthetic and a medical grade prosthetic is anywhere from $40,000 to $50,000 on average, which is insane. If you're an adult and you have insurance and you get a 3D printed bionic hand, whatever it may be, medical grade hand, you stop growing, so it's fine. If you're a kid, every single year the same way you need a new pair of shoes, or you need a new pair of sneakers, or you need a new whatever, you need a new hand. And insurance isn't necessarily going to cover that, especially with the whole insurance crisis and the way things are right now. It's not a good situation. This is completely realistic. You're teaching empathy, you're teaching engineering, you're teaching science, you're teaching math, you're teaching technology. You're literally teaching everything. You're teaching art, the customization, design. I genuinely cannot think of a more meaningful project than this. This is empathy. I'm literally holding empathy in my hand. Anybody who has a heart, if they're part of this project, I can't express how meaningful, how touching, how incredible it is to have somebody be a part of this. Everyone who sees what you're doing, it could be the toughest kid, it could be like the biggest, burliest, most muscular, just like, ugh. Doesn't matter who it is. When they see this, they can't help but smile and want to be part of it. You have this opportunity to bring this to your students, to your school, to your community, to everybody. The next step, the next coolest thing would be to approach shelters. We have like a lot of kids who live in shelters and have inconsistent housing situations, foster care and whatnot. I think it would be pretty damn cool, instead of just saying, hey buddy, here's $1, somebody out on the street, or here's a sandwich, I'm doing like a real good deed, let me go buy you lunch. Especially if a war vet who lost the limb, literally, here's a hand, here's a leg, here's an arm. A lot of people out there watching this video work in the city. You see these things every day, and it's just very crappy to just walk by and kind of turn a blind eye, which is what we're used to doing. And you do it because you feel like, what can I do? And you just feel bad about it. Imagine if there's really something that you can do. This is what you can do. I really want people to see this. I want people to get involved. I really do. I can't express how It's freaking awesome. It's so freaking cool. And this is just, it's really nice. It's a really good feeling doing this. It's a really, really good feeling doing this. And I hope that more people get involved with it.